Hello. It is Sunday evening. My time is 7:22. I don't know if you guys are in for the night, if you're up for a read, if you're already dreading school so you don't want to think about school, but I'm on page 49, chapter 11, Pride and Prejudice. Let's read. When the ladies were moved after dinner, like when they were dismissed from dinner, Elizabeth ran up to her sister and, seeing her well guarded from cold, attended her into the drawing room, where she was welcomed by her two friends with many professions of pleasure. And Elizabeth had never seen them so agreeable as they were during the hour which passed before the gentlemen appeared. Their powers of conversation were considerable. They could describe an entertainment with accuracy, relate an anecdote with humor, and laugh at their acquaintance with spirit. So they've had dinner, they've all gone in, and it's a happy group of people. Abdul Mohsen Al Shalfan, hello, assalamu alaikum. I'm assuming by the name it's an appropriate greeting. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Dale Gribble, you should read One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest soon. I've had requests for that. Put that on the community. I've put up what should I read next. So see if that's something you want to put there so I can put it on my list of books that have been requested. Makita Grimaud, hi back. And Abdul Mohsen, I'm not reading with you right now, but I'm reading Murder on the Orient Express. Sounds good. Dale, thank you. Hey, Siddharth. Ooh, a lot of people that I don't know. Welcome. Soph Bernardo. I'm not reading this for school, but Crucible, my number one read book, and To Kill a Mockingbird. I'm so glad that they helped you. Thank you for letting me know. Walaikum assalam. I appreciate it. Peace be with you. Hey, Venus. So let's keep reading. I'm glad so many of you are here. I wondered with me starting so late. But I had a happy day with friends, and I just got home. It's just now home. In Zaid, hi. Hi to everybody. Siddharth, you know the drill. Tell them to tell them all about Discord, that they can come chat with us over at Discord. All right. I realized when I listened to myself read this book, because the complexity of the language, I think I'm reading too quickly. So if you feel like my pace, I'm slowing down because there's a lot of language, give time to absorb it. If you feel like I'm being too slow, let me know. But when the gentleman entered, Jane was no longer the first object. Miss Bingley's eyes were instantly turned towards Darcy, and she had something to say to him before he had advanced many steps. He addressed himself directly to Miss Bennet with a polite congratulation. Mr. Hurst also made her a slight bow and said he was very glad, but diffusiveness and the warmth remained for Bingley's salutation. He was full of joy and attention. The first half hour was spent in piling up the fire, lest she should suffer from the change of room, and she removed at his desire to the other side of the fireplace that she might be farther from the door. He then sat down by her and talked scarcely to anyone else. Elizabeth, at work in the opposite corner, saw it all with great delight. She knows her sister's a good person. She's excited that Bingley likes her because she knows that Jane likes Bingley. Siddharth says, now you're going to be ahead of me in this book. Well, you can catch up. It doesn't take long to catch up. Put it on 2 times the playback speed. And that's what Siddharth just told him. You can go into the corner and set the speed. And some people say 1.5. That's about all I like. But some people say 2 times. The audiobooks really help me. Thank you. You're so welcome. Siddharth, I'm glad you're here. It's always good to hear from you. Send me a line on Discord. It's late for me to be reading tonight. It's 8:30 for you, so. When tea was over, Mr. Hurst reminded his sister-in-law of the card table, but in vain. She had obtained private intelligence that Mr. Darcy did not wish for cards, and Mr. Hurst soon found even his open petition rejected. She assured him that no one intended to play, and the silence of the whole party on the subject seemed to justify her. Mr. Hurst had therefore nothing to do but to stretch himself on one of the sofas and go to sleep. Darcy took up a book. Miss Bingley did the same, And Mrs. Hurst, principally occupied in playing with her bracelets and rings, joined now and then in her brother's conversation with Miss Bennet. Miss Bingley's attention was quite as much engaged in watching Mr. Darcy's progress through his book as in reading her own, and she was perpetually either making some inquiry or looking at his page. She could not win him, however. She couldn't get his attention to any conversation. He merely answered her question and read on. So he's not rude, but he doesn't engage with her. At length, quite exhausted by the attempt to be amused with her own book, which she had only chosen because it was the second volume of his, she gave a very great yawn and said, "Oh, how pleasant it is to spend an evening in this way. I declare, after all, there is no enjoyment like reading. Oh, yay. We should make that our quote. But she's being sarcastic. When I have a house of my own, I shall be miserable if I have not an excellent library." No one made any reply. She then yawned again, threw aside her book, and cast her eyes around the room in quest of some amusement, when hearing her brother mentioning a ball to Miss Bennet, she turned suddenly towards him and said, "By the by, Charles, are you really serious in meditating a dance at Netherfield? I would advise you, before you determine on it, to consult the wishes of the present party. I'm much mistaken if there are not some among us to whom a ball would be rather a punishment than a pleasure." "If you mean Darcy," cried her brother, "he may go to bed, if he chooses, before it begins. But as for the ball, it is quite a settled thing, and as soon as Nicholas has made white soup enough, I shall send round my cards." "I shall like balls infinitely better," she replied, "if they were carried on in a different manner, but there is something insufferably tedious in the usual process of such a meeting. I would surely be much more rational if conversation instead of dancing made the order of the day." "Much more rational, my dear Caroline, I dare say, but it would not be near so much like a ball." Miss Bingley made no answer, and soon afterwards got up and walked about the room. Her figure was elegant, and she walked well, but Darcy, at whom it was all aimed, was still inflexibly studious. So she's trying to show off, trying to frisk around and primp and look at me and flip her hair and, show off her cute body and her cute face. And Darcy's just not having it. In the desperation of her feelings, she resolved on one more effort, and turning to Elizabeth said, "Miss Eliza Bennet, let me persuade you to follow my example and take a turn about the room." So they're just walking around this big room. "I assure you it's very refreshing after sitting so long in one attitude." Elizabeth was surprised, but agreed to it immediately. Miss Bingley succeeded no less, and the real object of her civility, Mr. Darcy, looked up. He was as much awake to the novelty of attention in that quarter as Elizabeth herself could be, and unconsciously closed his book. He was directly invited to join their party, but he declined it, observing that he could imagine but two motives for their choosing to walk up and down the room together, with either of which motives his joining them would interfere. What could he mean? She was dying to know what could be his meaning, and asked Elizabeth whether she could at all understand him. "Not at all," was her answer, "but depend upon it, he means to be severe on us, and our surest way of disappointing him will be to ask nothing about it." Oh, people are writing, I'm sorry. Uh, You are welcome, Abdul Mohsen. I didn't see your comment. I'm sure you're gone by now. And Allison Morton, over the summer, I had to read Kite Runner. Dyslexia, so it's hard for me to get sometimes. But listening to really helped me, and now it's one of my favorite books. Thank you so much. Allison, thank you so much for letting me know that. And the important thing to remember if you have dyslexia is there are ways to get around it. You still are incredibly intelligent. You can get the concepts. You just have the obstacle of the letters and the words jumbling, words sounding similar, character names sounding similar. You may have some ADHD that's thrown in there that makes concentration hard. So you're the kind of student I always taught. So you have a special place in my heart. And I appreciate you coming and letting me know that you now love the book. Kite Runner's not my favorite. If you have the chance, try and listen to, of Khalid Hosseini's books, A Thousand Splendid Suns is my favorite. I love that story. And on my playlist, some of my short stories. I really love Pride and Prejudice. So let me know what you're reading for the rest of the school year. And hopefully, because I've got, I think, 40 or more books or short stories together on my playlist. So if you subscribe, I think you can see my playlist anyway, no matter what, if you subscribe or not. You can see what I've read, and hopefully there'll be some more books on there that you can benefit from and that they help you. Be strong, keep reading. I know it's a challenge, but you've got this. You're an intelligent woman. I assume, Allison, by your name, I make an assumption. Now that people have the choice of their pronouns, I don't mean to be insulting, so thank you. Vaibhav Kumar, kudos to your efforts. Loved your energy and effort, ma'am. Books for beginners. Beginner readers or beginner in English second language. When I taught English second language, which I still do, I recommend that you read instead of books. I recommend that you read magazines that cover topics that you're interested in. It is easier to learn and develop reading comprehension when you're interested in the subject matter. If you're interested in beginning literature and English is strong with you, thanks, Allison. English is strong for you. I recommend the same. I would say when I taught, I like to work with short stories because you're not struggling so much with the characters and the concepts. It's a shorter, you can put your focus on it in a shorter span of time. And I do have a playlist full of short stories. Again, I would recommend that you find something that's a topic you're familiar with, because the more you have interest in a subject, the easier it is to comprehend. Your reading comprehension is better. So based on the fact that I think you're saying reading second language, I would say try, what would be some of my easier foundational books? Hemingway, which I don't have on here. Sherlock Holmes, which I do have on my short story. It's called A Study in Scarlet. To Kill a Mockingbird has a lot of dialect. I would avoid that. Most of the books I've chosen are more difficult, so I don't know on my playlist that they would be good. I'm trying to think. I love A Thousand Splendid Suns. It's a great story. Just let me know what your interests are, and I'll try and make some recommendations of books not on my playlist. Tori Pence, you helped me so much through A Separate Piece. Not my favorite book. I'm glad it's there to help you. And right now I'm reading To Kill a Mockingbird. Great. Thank you. You're so welcome, Tori. Thanks for coming and letting me know. Susie Rife Cole, I started watching your videos this summer. Eyes Were Watching God. I love that one. Playlist helped me so much. Now, Scarlet Letter. That's another tough one. I'm really glad to know it helps. It makes me crazy happy when you guys take the time to come on and let me know. So thank you. I really appreciate it. Let me get back to reading so we finish this. This chapter is not very long, and I'll check in with y'all when I'm done. I was losing my place. Let me see where I am. Miss Bingley, however, was incapable of disappointing Mr. Darcy in anything, and persevered therefore in requiring explanation of his two motives. "I have not the smallest objection to explaining them," said he, as soon as she allowed him to speak. "You either choose this method of passing the evening because you're in each other's confidence and have secret affairs to discuss, or because you are conscious that your figure appear to be the greatest advantage in walking. If the first, I should be completely in your way, and if the second, I can admire you much better as I sit by the fire." So if your first reason for walking is to gossip and you're asking me to come join you, to exchange secrets and you're asking me to come join you, you can't continue doing what you're doing if I'm there. And if your second reason for walking is to show off your figure, which is what she's doing, then I see it better sitting where I am than if I'm walking with you. I can't look at you if I'm walking with you. So he nailed her. "Oh, shocking," cried Miss Bingley. "What a flirt. I never heard anything so abominable. How shall we punish him for such a speech?" "Nothing so easy if you have but the inclination," said Elizabeth. "We can all plague and punish one another. Tease him, laugh at him, intimate as you are. You must know how it is to be done." "But upon my honor, I do not. I do assure you that my intimacy has not yet taught me that. Tease, calmness of temper, and presence of mind. No, I feel he may defy us there. And as to laughter, we will not expose ourselves, if you please, by attempting to laugh without a subject. Mr. Darcy may hug himself." Mr. Darcy is not to be laughed at, cried Elizabeth. That is an uncommon advantage, and uncommon I hope it will continue, for it would be a great loss to me to have many such acquaintance. I dearly love a laugh. Miss Bingley, said he, has given me credit for more than can be the wisest and the best of men. Nay, no, the wisest and best of their actions may be rendered ridiculous by a person whose first object in life is a joke. Certainly, replied Elizabeth, there are such people, but I hope I am not one of them. I hope I never ridicule what is wise or good. Follies and nonsense, whims and inconsistencies do divert me. I own, I say, I agree, and I laugh at them whenever I can. But these, I suppose, are precisely what you are without. Perhaps that is not possible for anyone, but it has been the study of my life to avoid those weaknesses which often expose a strong understanding to ridicule, such as vanity and pride. Yes, vanity is a weakness indeed, but pride, while there is a real superiority of mind, pride will always be under good regulation. He's saying there's nothing wrong with being proud if you really are superior. Elizabeth turned away to hide a smile. Your examination of Mr. Darcy is over, I presume, said Miss Bingley. And pray, what is the result? I am perfectly convinced by it that Mr. Darcy has no defect. He owns it himself without disguise. She just said, I know he's perfect. He thinks so. No, said Darcy, I have made no such pretension. I have faults enough, but they are not, I hope, of understanding. My temper I dare not vouch for. It is, I believe, too little yielding, certainly too little for the convenience of the world. I cannot forget the follies and vices of others so soon as I ought, nor their offenses against myself. My feelings are not puffed about with every attempt to move them. My temper would perhaps be called resentful. My good opinion, once lost, is lost forever. So he's describing himself. That is a failing indeed, cried Elizabeth. Implacable resentment is a shade in character. You have chosen your fault well. I really cannot laugh at it. You are safe from me. There is, I believe, in every disposition a tendency to some particular evil, a natural defect which not even the best education can overcome. And your defect is a propensity to hate everybody. And yours, he replied with a smile, is willfully to misunderstand them. Do let us have a little. Now, Miss Bingley's lost all control, cried Miss Bingley, tired of a conversation in which she had no share. She can't keep up with them. Louisa, you will not mind my waking Mr. Hurst? Her sister made not the smallest objection, and the pianoforte was opened, and Darcy, after a few moments' recollection, was not sorry for it. He began to feel the danger of paying Elizabeth too much attention. He's getting attached. So, that is chapter 11. Chapter 12 is super short, and since I'm only 18 minutes in, I'll continue reading. I was going to stop and see if there was any new question or new conversation that we could share. Make sure you go to Discord, and I can't do it on here. I don't think I have Discord set up on my laptop. Let's see, to share the link with you guys, because I would love you guys to join us for conversation. And let's see, open it in my browser. I don't remember my username. I'm sure it's Best Tutor Friend. It's going to ask me a password. I probably am not going to know it unless I saved it last time. Okay, no, let me log in. I don't want to do all that. So no, I can't do it. I need to do it with my phone, and I'll add it later. So I had some comments. No, nobody had anything to say. So I'll keep reading. It's nighttime here. It's dark outside. But my porch is such a happy place that I love to sit out here even in the evening. Chapter 12, Pride and Prejudice, page 54. And again, this publisher is Everyman's Library. I have this huge fear of being shut down because I read copyrighted things and I don't have permission. which is wrong, but I feel like I'm doing it for educational reasons and I'm not making money. I don't monetize. So, hoping that I can keep reading and you guys will keep benefiting and the big companies won't come after me. So, I encourage you to buy their book or use the library who also buys the book. So, chapter 12. In consequence of an agreement between the sisters, Elizabeth wrote the next morning to her mother to beg that the carriage might be sent for them in the course of the day. But Mrs. Bennet, who had calculated on her daughters remaining at Netherfield till the following Tuesday, which would exactly finish Jane's week, could not bring herself to receive them with pleasure before. Her answer, therefore, was not propitious, at least not to Elizabeth's wishes, for she was impatient to get home. Elizabeth wants to go home. The mother wants her to stay to have a better chance to get close to Mr. Bingley. Mrs. Bennet sent them word that they could not possibly have the carriage before Tuesday, and in her postscript it was added that if Mr. Bingley and his sister pressed him to stay longer, she could spare them very well. Against staying longer, however, Elizabeth was positively resolved, nor did she much expect it would be asked, and fearful, on the contrary, as being considered as intruding themselves needlessly long. She urged Jane to borrow Mr. Bingley's carriage immediately, and at length it was settled that their original design of leaving Netherfield that morning should be mentioned, and the request made. Francesca, hi! I'm glad you're here. The communication excited many professions of concern, and enough was said of wishing them to stay at least till the following day to work on Jane. Until the morrow, their going was deferred, so they're going to wait until the next day. For her jealousy and dislike of one sister much exceeded her affection for the other. So Miss Bingley likes Jane. She just is jealous of Elizabeth because she's competition. The master of the house heard with real sorrow that they were to go so soon, and repeatedly tried to persuade Miss Bennet that it would not be safe for her, that she was not enough recovered, but Jane was firm where she felt herself to be right. To Mr. Darcy it was welcome intelligence. Elizabeth had been at Netherfield long enough. She attracted him more than he liked. He doesn't like the fact that he's having feelings for her. And Miss Bingley was uncivil to her and more teasing than usual to himself. He wisely resolved to be particularly careful that no sign of admiration should now escape him. Nothing could elevate her with the hope of influencing his happiness. Sensible that if such an idea had been suggested, his behavior during the last day must have material weight in confirming or crushing it. Steady to his purpose, he scarcely spoke 10 words to her through the whole of Saturday, and though they were at one time left by themselves for half an hour, he adhered most conscientiously to his book and would not even look at her. So he's trying to play it off like he doesn't care about her at all. Hi, Ruth Ann Seal. I wanted to say thank you so much. I finished Their Eyes Were Watching God. It helped me so much. I seem so nice. Thank you. I don't know. People on the internet, you don't know us. Maybe if I was your teacher or your mother, you would think I'm a crazy person or mean or difficult but I think I'm nice. It's okay. So thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. Really, it's true, guys. You don't know who people are on the internet. Be careful. The mother in me wants you to be careful. I'm just an old lady school teacher who loves to read books, and that's what I do with my spare time. And you could have to ask my kids or my ex-students, my past students, if I'm mean or nice. So I'll leave it to that. That's in the eyes of the beholder, I suppose. But be careful who you connect with on the internet. That's my motherly word of advice. On Sunday, after morning service, the separation so agreeable to almost all took place. Miss Bingley's civility to Elizabeth increased at last very rapidly, as well as her affection for Jane. And when they parted, after assuring the latter of the pleasure it would always give her to see her either at Longbourn or Netherfield, and embracing her most tenderly, she even shook hands with the former. Elizabeth took leave of the whole party in the liveliest spirits. They were not welcomed home very cordially by their mother. Mrs. Bennet wondered at their coming and thought them very wrong to give so much trouble, and was sure Jane would have caught cold again. But their father, though very laconic in his expressions of pleasure, was really glad to see them. He had felt their importance in the family circle. The evening conversation, when they were all assembled, had lost much of its animation and almost all its sense by the absence of Jane and Elizabeth. Again, indirect characterization. What does that tell us about Elizabeth and Jane? Certainly in the father's eyes, that they are intelligent and quick-witted and good conversationalists, where the other siblings, the other daughters, are young and immature and flighty, a little bit like their mother. Francesca, I'm sure you've made it to your senior year for more than that because you've taken the time to read along with me. Hi, Lee Ambrose. You finally caught me live. Caught me. You got me. One paragraph left. They found Mary, as usual, deep in the study of thorough baths and human nature, and had some new extracts to admire and some new observations of threadbare morality to listen to. Catherine and Lydia had information for them of a different sort. Much had been done and much had been said in the regiment since the preceding Wednesday. Several of the officers had dined lately with their uncle. A private had been flogged, beaten, and had actually been hinted that Colonel Foster was going to be married. So they have all the gossip. They're spilling the tea on all the military men. So that is 11 and 12. We're moving along. We still have quite a ways to go. I hope you're liking the book. Let me know. Go to my community part and decide if you want to see what book you want read next. I've given you a choice of like the Iliad and The Alchemist and Tale of Two Cities, and I always forget the other one. But you can go to community. So you go to my homepage, community, you click there, that's where the polls are, and you can participate in the poll and let me know what you want to have read next. If you don't like any of those, put your choice or find out if somebody else has given that suggestion, and I will take it seriously into, Animal Farm, that's leading. I don't want to read that one. Vote against Animal Farm. Venus, I'm glad. I know you work. I know you've got a lot going on. So I'm just always glad to have you here. And you chat with us at Discord too. So come find us at Discord. I'm going to put, there's invitation in past reads. And if I remember to, after this one, I will put it in. I have to be at work early in the morning. So I need to, at 7:49, late, I got to get to bed. So I'm going to end this here. We're at our 27 minutes. I'm going to do another shout out if you saw it on the last read, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. I read a little bit of it every day. It's such a sweet book. It's got such great, sweet thoughts. This one says, doing nothing with friends is never doing nothing, is it? Asked the boy. No, said the mole, and the pictures are great. You can see they're doing nothing. I don't know if you can see they're riding the horse and they're just hanging out together. And how many teenagers, your parents say, what you do tonight? Oh, nothing. Well, what do you mean do nothing? That's what teenagers do. They do nothing. I love this line. Doing nothing with friends is never doing nothing, is it? Asked the boy. No, said the mole. Such a dear, dear book. If you have a chance, pick it up. I don't think it's very expensive. The publisher is Harper One, and Charles Mackesy is the author. Just a sweet, this is a little hardback book. It's a good gift. It would be a great gift to give for seniors that graduate if they're book readers. So Francesca, I'm so glad you were here too. It's glad to chat with you. Come see me over in Discord and we chat a lot more over there. It's kind of boring because I'm kind of a boring person. We talk about, like today I went with my friends to an antique store and to shopping, and I hate shopping. But later I had a pedicure and went with my friend out to dinner, so that was fun. Beautiful day. This was a beautiful weekend. We got this horrible hurricane, and now it's beautiful weather. Crazy life like that. Remember that when you're in high school. Terrible days come, and then beautiful days follow. So if you haven't subscribed already, help me make it to 10,000. Keep reading Pride and Prejudice. Let me know what book you want next. Monday, tomorrow. Rainy days and Mondays always get me down. Carpenters. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I have a good day of work to go. I hope your Monday is a good one. Be kind to each other. Subscribe if you haven't already. Keep reading. Like, if you want to like, ring the bell so you know when I go live, because I never know when I'm going to go live. And if you have an unkind comment to make, because I got an unkind comment today, don't use the effing word because I'm going to take you off. If you're out there wanting to get my audience over to your porn site, I'm going to take that off. I'm happy that you're reading with me. I'm glad that you're reading with me. Don't try and lure my young men and women to your porn site because that's not what I'm here for. Now that I've said that, that's what people are going to do. But we're really here to read. And as a mother, I feel protective of my readers. I want to keep you guys safe. Keep reading, sleep well, get all your homework done, and I will read to you next time. See you.